European Fantasia 2020 just ended yesterday. This was such a wonderful experience. I was privileged to teach 2 classes. This is an overview of the first class I taught there. This is on partner dancing over the internet. This class arose out of the need among some of my students to be able to dance across from each other. So this class is about how we can actually accomplish that, how we can actually dance with each other across the screen during this time. I'll cover some of the material we covered in class, and I'll also cover a few other things that we didn't have time to discuss. So please join me. You may be watching me from a very tiny screen on your phone, or from a large monitor, or anywhere in between. But we still are able to communicate, not just by voice, but also with the movement in our bodies. Some of this concept of being able to do this relies on our center, because that is the one thing that is clear and we can see. We can make small little movements, but if we can't see them across a tiny screen, it's going to be difficult to dance, to lead, or follow them. So we started with first relaxing our bodies, and then we did an exercise to focus on centering and bring attention to this. This exercise involves clasping our hands a little bit like this and feeling this energy coming from just behind our belly button. If we do this, we can just feel it, and then we moved around trying to keep this energy in place. And if it disappears, if we make a movement, and that disappears, I encourage everyone to bring back this energy right there. Can you feel it? Just relax your bodies, pull your hands slightly apart just in front of your belly button, and behind the belly button you should feel this energy growing, and then move around, keeping that there. If you have to, keep holding this there and move around. The quality of your movement changes. You are actually moving from here. This is what's guiding the movement. Let's start with changing weight. One of the very basic things here, if I focus right there, I can change weight here, and you can see that. So why don't you follow me? Do this, become aware of where your center is, and follow my center as I change weight from one to the other. One side note, if I'm like this and I change weight, can't really see that very easily. But if I'm here and change weight, if my feet are together, it suddenly becomes easier. Another concept that we focused on is that of difference between falling and moving without falling. What I mean is this. I'm falling. I'm actually falling. That's normal. This is the blues basic, and I actually fall. I want to change that a little bit and move from here, and instead of falling, notice the difference. Now, which is easier to follow? Or, as a follower, the more information I have before the movement, the easier it is for me to follow. If my lead is going like this, I literally have hardly any time at all to catch up. But if instead of a sudden movement like falling, instead If my lead does this, I suddenly know. When do you know? When do you realize that I'm about to take a side step? Is it now? Is it now? There. Now, let's do it the other way. When do you know I'm about to take a side step? Literally, there's no time. So by using our center, and what we're doing here is instead of falling, in order for me to move my leg this way, I have to counterweight that by moving my body this way. Focus here on the center helps that. Same thing happens when we're moving forward and backwards. If I move forward, well, first I can just move forward like that, but it may be a little bit better, a little bit not better, but a little bit more expressive as far as being able to signal our partner that we're going to be moving that direction. I'll move my heels to my heels, counterweighting my forward movement, and then step forward. So instead of falling, I'm counterweighting and moving forward. This gives you a little bit of a smoother movement. Something else when moving forward and backward. I want you first of all to do this with me. Stand on one foot and swing the other way. Notice what happens to our arms. Notice what happens to our shoulders. This is called counter body movement. And when we're walking normally, our shoulders can actually take part in that. So now I want you to follow me. And by this I mean, if I walk forward, I want you to walk backwards. Now, I'm going to put my weight here. See what's happening to my upper body? I'm going to walk backwards. And I want you to mirror to do exactly what my shoulders are doing. So move your shoulders like that. And you notice your leg will want to come forward. It's a natural way our body moves. So if I want to, let's say I'm on this foot, and I want to move you forward, I'll move this shoulder back and this shoulder forward a little bit. And now your body is already primed to walk backwards. There. And if I want to move you forward and me backward to follow, all I have to do is do this. And suddenly, and if your shoulders are also at this angle and your weight is on this foot, your foot is going to want to move in that direction. In the class, we actually practiced this. Everyone got an opportunity to lead the class. A couple of times actually. And that's another important aspect of this. This can be really difficult. We went on a little further. We did rock steps. We talked about, first of all, the difference between changing weight and moving. We already gave you a little bit about that. And now rock steps. Let's say I want to do a rock step to the side. My energy as the lead coming from here is going to be down. Bum, bum, ba. Going forward, we still are doing this and it bum, bum, ba. Can you feel the difference between versus and forward step? Between a forward step and a rock step. We also, at the end, we added a couple of other things, and one of them was a spin. So if I'm leading and I'd like to my follower to spin, I might raise my hand this way. and you'll spin. And we can signal each other that way as well across the screen. Or someone in class did this, took them and just spun them around. And I was following that. I was surprised, but I spun. So as a follower when that person led. So that's really fun. There's all sorts of other things we can do. Some of the things we also tried was spinning ourselves. So you can spin, you can take your follower if you're leading, and you can actually spin together. That's an overview of the partner dancing across the internet class that I taught at European Micro Fantasia 2020. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'm on Facebook as Jurni Roco, Jurni Roco. You'll see me on the schedule. I hope to hear from you soon.